Hi folks, I'm Landon, and this short video is on the history of family caregiving. First, I want to spend a little bit of time on what family caregiving is. Family caregiving is not informal caregiving. We work very, very hard. We spend more time with our wives, our parents, our friends than anyone else. Second, I don't like to be called an unpaid caregiver. Yes, I'm not paid, but the truth is I pay. I pay with blood, sweat, and tears. This is not an easy burden to take. Finally, I don't like to be called unprofessional. Again, I may not have a degree appropriate for dementia or whatever it is, but I know my wife better than anyone does, and I know what she likes and dislikes, and I spend more time with her than anyone else. Family caregiver works. Now, some people have complained, well, I could actually be taking care of a neighbor. Of course you could. The term family doesn't just mean genetics or marriage. It means this person is important to me. And I'll tell you, some of those family caregivers that take care of people they're not related to, I care more about them than I do some of the people that I'm related to. So let's just agree we're family caregivers. In the 1860s, people didn't live as long. Men, for example, had an average lifespan of 41 years. That meant they didn't get diseases of aging. Today, men live on average 81 years. The diseases of advanced age are completely new to medicine since the 1860s. Second point, if someone gets injured in 1860, they live on a farm, they get their arm caught in machinery, they get an infection, they do not live a long time after a serious injury. There are not antibiotics. There is not good sterile procedures. And they don't live a relatively long time. Today, we have antibiotics. And if you couple that with these diseases of the aged, the prognosis is very, very long. I can tell you, my wife was 66 when she was diagnosed, and I was 67. The first thing I wanted to do was to look up how long she is likely to live. It turns out the prognosis was between 4 years and 20. I added 20 to 67 and said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life caring for her. The next point follows from the last one. If injury produces death relatively soon, and diseases of the aging take a long time, the caregiver's job doesn't last as long in 1860 as it does now. That has two consequences on caregiving. Number one, physical. Number two, emotional. The physical consequences are that the caregiver is under stress for a long period of time. And we all know we're designed to respond to stress very quickly, but we get tired quickly as well. Caregivers who are under stress can fail physically. My blood pressure went in successive years from in the 120s to 130s to 140s to 150s, and for a short time in the 160s. That was all the result of stress. The second difference of being a caregiver for a long time is emotional. You are isolated. You're working with the caregiver because they can't or don't want to leave the house. You lose your friends. You lose your hobbies. You actually lose producing anything of meaning. Your job goes away. Those things take away from you and who you are, and it causes caregiver burnout. When that happens, you may stop caring for your loved one because you just give up. The next point is, in the 1860s, America and the world was rural and agricultural. People lived on a farm. There were multiple generations living in the same house. So there were people around to do the caregiving. Sometimes it might have been someone unmarried, a woman in a family a long way away who came over to take care of them on a short-term basis. Today, our families are much smaller. Our children move away. Families are dispersed. As a result, there aren't as many people to share the burden. Sometimes, for example, the family says, "Hon, you take care of them because you're closer," even though you don't like them. You might be related in marriage, you might be related in the family, but that doesn't mean you're the best one to give care. Because there were many people in the family, there were lots of hands to help in 1860. Now, not only are there fewer hands, but there are a couple of other issues. We have many more nuclear families with just a husband and a wife and children. And both of the adults work. Now, if one gets sick, there's even less support for them at home. Add to that, people have smaller families, so we are having children later in life. And that's what's produced the sandwich generations, where people have children at home, young children, and parents who need our support because they have dementia. These things added up make caregiving today harder than it has ever been. Because caregiving today is so difficult, and we just talked about that, I want to give you a few tips on this short video for how to get a better handle on doing a good job. The first is to pay attention to yourself and to your emotions. I know a lot of our friends, and it's not good to hear this, as they're walking away and say, "Gee, I'm sorry, be sure to take care of yourself," that can make us pretty darn angry. Yeah, I'd like to take care of myself, but how do I go to the gym when I can't leave my father alone? How do I take care of myself when they wake up every night and I don't get any sleep? Even though it's extremely difficult to take care of yourself, if you don't, you have a serious consequence of you failing before your loved one. Think of what they tell you on an airplane. They say, if the oxygen mask comes down, you put it on yourself before you care for someone else. Because if you don't, you might be unable to help them. One of the ways to deal with this is to make sure you have a relationship with your doctor and the doctor understands how you're feeling. If your doctor doesn't want to spend time with you because maybe your doctor is treating your loved one also, and they get paid only for treating them, and you tell them you're having a hard time and they don't seem to be focusing on you, please find a doctor that is separate for yourself and give them your burdens and let them help you deal with them. Third, please realize you are the leader of the team. It's too easy these days to think the doctor is the expert, the nurse knows more than you do, this is a disease you don't know anything about, but you are the one responsible for your loved one. You are the one that is with them all the time and knows exactly what's going on. It is your job to go to the doctor when it's time. It's your job to reach out for social support for yourself, from your friends, from those in the extended family that are a long way away. And the advice here is communicate how you are. Sometimes people don't understand what caregivers go through. So it's kind of hard to express your feelings to them. They don't get it. Well, one device is share how you feel with a number of people, and guess what? Some of them will get it and put them on your team. The ones who don't get it, let them go. The topics we've discussed in this video are kind of heavy and they may be bringing you down. What I'd like to let you know is there is hope. You will get through this. You can handle it. But the key issue is you probably can't handle it alone. If you think about the future, not getting through today, which we all do under stress, when someone falls, when they are incontinent, and all you're doing is running around behind them trying to take care of them, we don't think about what's coming next. And if you're caring for somebody at home, that person sometime in their journey before they die will need professional help that you can't provide. Sometimes in that journey, you will need help because you're so isolated and alone. And if you know what is coming in the journey, you will be better prepared to take action. Too many caregivers do not reach out for help. The ones who reach out later have poorer outcomes than ones who reach out earlier. If you want to get a quick overview of what this journey is like, the book we've described in the first video, Caregiving, Journey to a New Destination, is divided into the stages that cover the caregiver's journey, including placement, including the grief that you feel, including how to work with your doctor. So you might want to check that book out. And I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you.